Hey friends, Kevin Oeste here, after hours at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. Yes, they allowed me to come back in late at night once again, so we're going to take a little walk through the show, see some of the highlights. We can't share them all because we'd be here for a month, but there's a lot of very special cars here and special displays, so let's take a look and see what we see, right? Right off the bat, the 427 factory-built Ford drag race truck, the F100XL, a BFX truck, tow bar that they used to drag it to the racetracks with, something you don't expect, which is a hallmark of the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. But here is where one of the most significant displays of the show is this year. This, of course, being the 60th anniversary of the Pontiac GTO. So right in front, we have a 1964 GTO. This is the one that kicked it all off, right? 389 tri-power. It's in a beautiful color. This thing is known as one of the Bobcat GTOs, which of course was a product of Royal Pontiac in Detroit. Royal Oak actually was home of the Royal Pontiacs and the Royal Bobcats. And what we have here is a great display showing the birth of the Pontiac ram air induction system. So you see this bathtub style air cleaner sitting on top of the 3-deuce carburetor set up on top of the 389. This basically shows how they thought, similar to what Chevrolet was doing with the Z11 race cars, if they grabbed fresh air from up in here, they could feed the carburetors, ramming air down the throat, right? So this was the prototype concept right there, which eventually went into production later on, but known as the ram air. So this is the very beginning of the ram air Pontiac from '64. These Royal Pontiacs had lots of cool accessories and stickers and fun stuff, performance parts. Here's some of the part numbers, the gaskets they used, and spark plugs and stuff. So it's a very cool display, theme display, showing a Royal Bobcat GTO. And you can see the badging on this one right there. Legendary ride. But being the 60th anniversary of the GTO, there's far more than just that. This was one of the featured unveilings today, a 65 Pontiac GTO. Beautiful black color with the red pinstripe. This is another 4-speed car, convertible, and just an icon, right? Proving we're after hours. We got our maintenance crew that's going to do a little cleanup here tonight. I'm not going to get in the way of what they're doing. The 66 over here is a very cool car, special order 66 GTO. This one is interesting. The VIN, the last 3 numbers of the VIN are 389, right? It's meant to be like a 389 engine under the hood. Let's look at a few more. The Naval Pontiac Tin Indian. I remember building the model kit of this one, right? Sponsored by AMT, famous drag car out of Akron, Ohio. Another 66 GTO. Gold 67 Pontiac GTO. I mean, just GTOs for days. This fantastic 68 Ram Air 2 car. The Ray Faro 69, another Ram Air car. But then we get into the Judges, right? And so what's a Pontiac GTO Judge? Well, the GTO Judge, and we got a whole bunch of them here. We've got on this side of the aisle and over here on this side. I believe this is, one of the most amazing GTO Judge displays that has ever been put together, because these are all Ram Air 4 cars. And Ram Air 4 is, high performance, open port, heavy breathing Pontiac 400. But the Judge originally was interesting because the GTO was, back in '64, like that one, was kind of a lightweight, basic muscle car. It didn't have a lot of options. It was just big engine, 2 doors, go fast. But over time, the GTO became a little more fancy, and you could get more options in it and more luxurious. So the Judge was actually a lower line initially GTO. Now this is a 70 GTO Ram Air 4 convertible. A whole bunch of 70 cars here. But you'll see things like no trim rings on the wheels and fewer options than you would get because, again, kind of the racy version. Towards the end of the line, 71, the Judge started to pick up some more options and become a little more special. But Ram Air 4 cars are rare. There's so many of them here, and it blows your mind to see it. There's a 71 455 HO. That's the big round port head. So if you like GTOs, especially this style, this is definitely the place to go. 72. But the GTO celebration doesn't end there. We got some later model GTOs. And throughout the 70s, Pontiac continued to keep the GTO alive. This one here is a 1974. Looks very much like a Nova, but still a GTO. We got into this one here. This is a 73 Colonnade style, and capping this little area off with a 70 GTO Judge Ram Air 3 convertible. So this is not a nat display because it's not a Ram Air 4. But here's our friend Cue Ball. Hey, after hours shooting cars?
After hours shooting cars, that's right. Come on down to the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals every year.
That's right, all the time. Thank you. So, we got to see the GTO display, which is, again, super special. Love to see it. But the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals is friend to all different muscle cars, and right here is a 69 and 68 Buick GS Stage 1 display. So these cars are, you know, Buick luxury, but with the Stage 1 engine. And some of these convertibles are really impressive. Earlier today, we unveiled this one. Adam Martin restored it. 69 Stage 1 4-speed convertible. Mike Sopka's car. And this one, white, black, low miles, but clean restoration. Check out, I don't know if you can see it, but the 4-speed does not have a console in this one because it has an 8-track player, and the 8-track and the console didn't get along. They didn't fit, so you got one or the other. But Buick muscle. The Stage 1, of course, higher lift camshaft, carburetor, you know, some good performance goodies, special designation on the hood. I love that hood design. A 69 GS 400 in green. Beautiful color with kind of a greenish tan interior. I don't even know what color that is. Kind of hard to see. But the hits keep coming on the GS 400s all throughout the display. This one is amazing. So this is a GS 400 non-Stage 1 car, but still definitely worth a look. All the way down the line. Now back here, we'll get into some more very cool Buicks. A GNX Invitational. The GNX, of course, was the hopped up version of the Buick Grand National, 547 produced. These things had a special intercooler and different wheels and slightly different tuning, and I might say a cam change over the regular Grand National. And this was the fastest car you could buy in 1987. This particular one is the prototype. It's number 1 of the GNXs. So the whole lineage started here from our friends at Buick. This diagram shows some of the unique pieces of the prototype. Where else are you going to see it? You know, right here. The fun thing about this is that this car belongs to the Conley family, who also owned the 70 Buick GSX, known as the prototype. Actually, the factory show car that we've shown here with the special wing that was featured at this show a couple years ago. So, love to see them. As we move on, a Chrysler 300 display. Unbelievable Chrysler 300F. Look at the color. Just blows my mind. So this is, you know, not traditional muscle, but yeah, full size, high performance Hemi cars, Royal Lancer convertible. Look at this badge. Crazy. There's our Jouster. 59 Dodge Custom Royal Lancer. The detail on the interior on these things, the design, this is, you know, that 50s opulence. Look at that. Look at that trim. I believe this was a Virgil Exner design. And then for 60, they cleaned it up a little bit with almost a Packard style taillight. And then we got into this 58 DeSoto Fire Sweep convertible. Similar family. Luxury muscle from DeSoto in 58. So this show, full of surprises, not just Camaros, not just Mustangs. Some pretty cool 50s cars as well. So we've got a lot of ground to cover here. We're gonna go back in the middle of the room over here. Of course, our friends at MCACN are the title sponsor again. We appreciate them for joining the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. They're previewing a few vehicles that are gonna be for sale at the January Kissimmee MCACN auction in Florida. But what I want to see is a close-up look at a few more of our featured unveilings here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. This one is pretty interesting. The 66 Le Mans convertible doesn't look like your typical Le Mans. It's got a GTO front end on it. It's entirely blue. It's got a white interior, white top. It's a 389 or a 400. I'm sorry, probably 400 with a power glide in it. Here's your Le Mans treatment on the back. And it was kind of a custom built by the owner and the restorer who wanted to make a version of the car they wanted using all GM parts. So it's a custom using factory parts, but they blended different options and things that kind of went together to build the car they wanted. Right over here, a 1970 Plymouth Roadrunner 426 Hemi. Super awesome car, restored by Apex. You'll notice that it's a Hemi car, but it's got a blackout hood delete, and it's got a black vinyl top and a white interior. Stunning. Bench seat, 4-speed, 426 Hemi. Minimal graphics on this one. Your Roadrunner stripe on the back. Just an amazing looking car. Again, a featured restoration unveiling here at the 24 show. But take a look at this. This one, holy mazzoli. 1971 Hemi Cuda, 426 Hemi, 4-speed, B5 blue, white interior with a white billboard stripe. Pistol grip 4-speed, of course the shaker hood. Just a stunning, stunning looking car. I could look at this thing all day. Another one restored by Apex. They did a great job on it. And we had a great discussion today about this car because a lot of times you'll see B5 blue done and it's a little lighter, a little darker, a little more vivid, a little more sparkly. So it's real challenging to get an accurate color because a lot of the paint technology has changed so much you just don't see it anymore. But I think these guys got it right. It's not one of the high impact colors, B5. It's a kind of a regular color, but still just a beautiful and amazing car. Got some more Mopar muscle over here. Our friends at Magnum Auto Restoration brought out a 71 Demon 340. It's 71. You know, you got the 2 scoops on the hood, but check out the orange and red plaid interior. Crazy. This Superbird got a lot of notoriety because this car had a little misfortune a couple years ago. This is the Hurricane Bird, right? So this one, you've seen the picture on social media. This car flipped upside down, unfortunately, after a hurricane. But it has been restored and brought back to its glory. We got a picture of it there. Oh yeah, that's a bummer. but it went from that back to what it's supposed to look like. So happy to see these cars restored and preserved. Our friends at Nikki Chevrolet in Chicago, they always bring cool stuff out. Nikki, one of the original high performance dealers, speed parts dealers. They found this Jack Douglas Yanko, barn find. The same family has owned it since 1981. You can see the crazy lacquer paint job on it. And some clear checking, of course, big block under the hood. This thing was run hard, raced hard. Look at the heritage here. Street Machine Nationals, DuQuoin, Illinois. 91, 90, 88, 96, 93. So even then, they were showing this car and getting it out there. Little custom Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote mural on the side. The Highway Star. Yanko, very cool. One of the more modern Nikki Performance Camaro ZL1s. Super Camaro, this is number 3 with all of the Nikki Performance upgrades. And then a showpiece for the Nikki Gasser kit. Solid axle conversion for Tri-5s. You can build your own. Just call our friends at Nikki. So, a couple more featured unveiling cars. This 71 GTO Judge. This is restored by Level 1 Restorations. It's a Ram Air 3 car, I believe. Beautiful, amazing color. Actually, it's a 455 HO car. I could tell because of the Q card here on the wing, right? And I unveiled this car today. I should have remembered that. See a lot of cars here at the MCACN show. This one, a 1973 Formula 455 Super Duty car. The color is called Ascot Silver. It's almost a champagne. Black interior, coupled with the 4-speed manual transmission. So these Super Duties were special cars. The 455 had dry sump oiling capability, provisions on the pan, made great power even for 1973, pushing 400 horsepower. Not many of these cars made. Fewer survive. I don't remember what the actual production number was. 170 some, if I'm not mistaken. Not many in this color, but fresh restoration by Level 1. And then we go on to one more awesome Pontiac, a 69 Ram Air 4 4-speed Firebird, Orbit Orange. And this one was a factory Pontiac show car that they brought to the likes of the Chicago Auto Show or the Detroit Auto Show back then. And it was a public show car where people would come to the new car auto show and see what's new from Pontiac. And they showed them this Ram Air 4 car. 4-speed again, vinyl top, hood tack, bright orange color to attract attention to people. And earlier today we talked with a gentleman who owned this car from 1976 until recently. And he basically bought it on a used car lot. Nobody really knew what it was until they started to do some research on it. But Ram Air 4 400 4-speed 69 Firebirds are not very common. Very cool to see it. And the 69 Hurst Olds Convertible. And this one, there was 3 of these that were built back in the day and used by Hurst to go to the racetracks with the platform on the back. One of them was unveiled here. Linda Vaughn was here, the giant shifter, whole thing. There's one in the Brothers collection. This is the 3rd one. The first one, I guess, burned down. The last 2 remain, and this is one of them. Special car. Next up, we have some movie stars. Yes, vehicles actually owned and from the Joe Dirt movie. They got a Hemi in it? That's right. Had to say it. We also have a couple more movie star cars. This one here, the 55 Chevy 210, featured in 2-lane blacktop. So this was the car that James Taylor drove in the movie. This is the actual car. And the other 55 featured here is from American Graffiti that Harrison Ford drove. Actual cars. So yeah, you're getting a little taste of what's going on here, because there's a lot. And we've only barely scratched the surface of the 2024 Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. We'll keep going. This 442 featuring the W43 V8. The W43, what's that? Well, the experimental W43 Hemi Olds V8. There's a great story on what this engine is and how it got here and the parts that are new on it based on the original Oldsmobile drawings. I would look at these photos here. So these are from back in the day from Carcraft magazine, and you could see the large valve covers and the way the webbing is inside the block, the canted push rods. This car deserves far more research, and I'm going to give it right here, right now, but a shining star here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. One of the hottest W machines possible, but not truly a production engine. Experimental, super cool. All right, so many cars. A couple of more that are standouts. This 1964 GTO, billed as what might be the highest option 64 GTO ever made. There are things on this car like power seats, driver's side power seat, rear defroster, the fender mount mirror. Take a look at that. That's a Pontiac piece mounted all the way up the fender. He's got power windows in this car, all kinds of stuff. The owners had this thing for 50 years and finally finished restoring it with Midwest Muscle Car Restoration. Brought it out to share with us here at MCACN, right? So many. A couple more premium unveilings earlier today. A 59 Chevy Corvette featuring the ramjet fuel injection. This one is a 290 horse with a 4-speed. Beautiful car. The owner drove this thing quite often and actually experienced a fire on Las Vegas Boulevard with the wiring harness. Fortunately, the whole car didn't burn, but it warranted a restoration, and that's what we see today. The interior is stellar. Just a great looking car. And it's parked next to a 1971 Corvette ZR2. Well, heard of the ZR1, what's a ZR2? Well, the ZR2 for 71 is one of 12 featuring the LS6 454, 425 horsepower, right? So we all know the LS6 Chevelle made 450 horsepower, but this ZL2 in a 71 made 425 because it was a slightly reduced compression for 1971, but a very, very amazing car. So a big block car designed to be basically a race car for the streets, similar to the L88, but not quite as radical. So didn't have any options, manual steering, and this particular car, after being sold new, went to England and spent some time in England, got kind of worse for the wear, came back to the US, got restored, and here we are, one of 12. Supposed to be the best handling big block of this generation Corvette, I believe it, but a little too much for regular street use. A lot of people that got behind the wheel of these things got beat up pretty good because no power accessories, just a neat car, right? So a whole slew of additional Corvettes. These are some of our triple diamond entries. 63, the big tanker, another 64. All these are big tank cars, which meant they carried more fuel for longer duration racing, and it goes on and on. So Corvette Central's here as a sponsor with a lot of Corvette parts and restoration pieces. Nice to see them. Very cool display over here from the pure stock drag racing guys. These are cars that, you know, they might look fairly stock, but are a lot faster and employ interpretations of rules and are raced and driven hard. So not everything here is a pure show car. A lot of these cars are still driven. Hodge Restorations brought out a trio of Mopars, some Hemi cars. This one here being the Pilot 426 Hemi Roadrunner. Crazy car. Has a few different things than the regular production versions. Pilot cars, of course, were the first one down the line to test out the manufacturing procedures. So cool to see those. Always a little different. 69 Camaro pace car. 57 Chevrolet Convertible. And this one is unique. This is a Toyota Crown. A Toyota Crown. That's right. A very unusual car. It's a 1971. But back in the day, you know, Toyota was trying to compete with American sports cars, performance cars, muscle cars, and this was their entry. It is left-hand drive, so it's US federal. Not something you see every day, but very interesting car. Which brings us around to a display that's familiar to our viewers. This is our V8 Speed and Resto 20th anniversary display. We've touched on this a few times. Up in the front is the chassis for the 1957 Ford two-door ranch wagon that we're working on. These are cars all built in our shop. This features a John Kazi 540-inch single overhead cam, fuel-injected aluminum V8 making 840 horsepower on a Roadster shop chassis with a 4L80E automatic overdrive transmission. The 1967 Pontiac GTO we restored back in 2019. Previous MCACN placer for sure. This 1969 Corvette Roadster that we've been building, 427 Tremec TKX 5-speed manual transmission. The reloaded Camaro came back, 490 roller, big block, Detroit speed, automatic car, overdrive, the loose change Camaro with the LSA. These we featured in depth in a very recent shop tour. You can look that up on our website or on YouTube, the Comp Cam's 1969 Camaro and the 1965 Chevelle that we restored back in 2010. Still looking good. So cool to see those. We're very happy with the response. A lot of people came by to say hello and check these out. So we will continue on because you can see more of these, like I said, on our YouTube channel, and we invite you to check them out. So much more. A huge Boss Mustang display, Mach 1s. This one here is up on the rack to get inspected for the vintage certification. The Pinnacle certification. A 73 Mach 1, 72 Mustang, 71 Super Cobra Jet 429 car, and this is also a pilot car. It just keeps going, you know. This 1970 Mach 1 428 Cobra Jet car with the ram air scoop. So Mustang fans were not let down. Boss 429 leading the charge at the top of the display. A bunch of some junior dragsters, full-size drag race cars, and they're leading into the factory lightweight display. And this one is a display of factory-built drag race cars that have lightened features. So maybe the bumpers are aluminum, maybe the fenders are fiberglass, or fenders are aluminum. 1964 Dodge with the race Hemi. Look at this thing, man. Gutted interiors, right? 63.5 Ford Galaxy with the 427 FE motor. These have aluminum bumpers. You can see the shimmer on that. It doesn't look like chrome because it's not. And fiberglass body parts. Again, seats out of a Ford van, no radio, no heater, all the deletes, no sound deadener, just a 4-speed and a 427, and lightweight parts wherever they can. But next to it, It's a 1962 Ford Galaxy lightweight. And if I remember the story correctly, I think they made 11 of these. Not many of them exist anymore because some of them were converted from 62s into 1963s because the 62 drag program, it took a while to make these, and they knew the 63 season was coming up, so they're like, hey, we'll just flip some of these into those. But the 62, again, lightweight panels, completely gutted interior. We did a feature on one of these in the Brothers collection that didn't have the bench seat. It had buckets, but again, the 4-speed heater, radio delete, 405 horse. But these were a 406 FE V8, aluminum bumper, fiberglass body panels, super rare. Tempest lightweight wagon, another great Pontiac drag car. Z11 Chevrolet Impala, another lightweight car. Look at all these lightweight cars. A lot of people didn't know that they built these things, but the lighter you can get them, the faster they went. It's like free horsepower, right? The problem with them is parts are impossible to find because they were purpose made just for these cars. So they put warnings on them like, hands off, my hood's aluminum, you know, my fenders are aluminum. You lean on them, you'll dent them, mush them all up. We don't want that. Great display. Very cool to be able to spend some time here. Look at the aluminum bumpers on this one. 64 Dodge 330. Dig the wild striping on the open headers. You know, headers were white back in the day, a lot of these race cars. They thought it'd help with heat. It looks cool. Just goes on and on. Across here, of course, a Mopar A12 Anniversary Invitational. The A12, of course, Super B 6-pack carburation, lift-off hood, special steel wheels, gear ratio, 440 under the hood. Again, kind of a lightweight car. Beautiful in green, and here's a whole slew of A12 cars. They came in a couple different body styles. So that's a 69.5. You can tell it's got a different quarter scoop than the 69. This one's in Hemi orange. Over here, a 69.5 Dodge Super B A12 6-pack liftoff, 440. Just a great display. Very high performance cars. People love to see them. Fast, lightweight cars with that lift-off hood. More and more stuff to see, friends. The bunch of black Mopars that came out. Dig this 70 Sport Fury GT with a 440. Big car, high performance luxury from Mopar. 71 CUDA 446 pack. Here's another 71 CUDA 446 pack. This is an unrestored original car. Just beautiful. I'm a huge 71 fan. The 71, of course, had this grille with the individual openings and the gills on the fender and the little power bulge hood. I dig it. The black and white formal attire invitational. It's kind of a black tie affair of muscle cars, right? Even a wing car. It's great. So much, right? Javelins. A lot of AMC love here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. We've got some more Mopars back there. All the way in the back is where some of the vintage certification is happening on the lifts. The Studebaker Legends. And this thing, 1933 Studebaker Special Indy 500 race car. Amazing it still exists. But then backed up with a 57 Stud Golden Hawk, a 61 Studebaker Hawk, the 64 Stud Gran Turismo, and an Avanti. Even a wagon, it just goes down the line. We have a lot more Corvettes back here. We're gonna make our way across to the barn finds and hidden gems section, which is always a cool place to to see cars that have been discovered or dragged out of storage from some barn or some field. More triple diamond Corvettes. You know, Corvette is the middle name of the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. Whole slew of mid-year 427 cars. And here's a beautiful silver 63 split window. Wearing original paint, red gut. Look at that. Look at that. People try to recreate this kind of patina today. You know, that's just a nice, well-worn, comfortable pair of shoes kind of split window Corvette. Really, really dig it. The show, it really just doesn't end. You need more than an afternoon or a quick walkthrough on video to consume the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. Here we are, the barn finds and hidden gems. We got to make sure we don't disturb our other fellow late night photographers. But the quick rundown over here has muscle cars of all flavors. Superbird wing cars, Daytonas, Chargers, Challengers, Super Bs, RTs. This one in particular is a very cool Hemi Cuda. It's 1970. Just wild. And we'll see. You know, sometimes we find these cars here that are brought out of the barn and displayed dirty, and then they get restored and they're here next year wearing clean paint and looking all new again. We'll find out. We will find out. So the more we walk, the more we find. But I think I might start to wrap this up a little bit. I hope you have enjoyed our fairly quick walkthrough of the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals. This is an event that if you've never been here, you need to come. And again, it's great for the whole family. There's awesome cars to see, but it's really all about the people. And this is the 15th year of this show, and I've been to every one except 2, I think. And every year I come back and they seem to raise the bar and come up with more and more cool stuff, like this 70 GS 455 Stage 1 car in blue. Buckets, automatic. I dig the Buicks, but I digress. Always something cool to see. You need to come to the event. MCACN.com. Get your tickets for next year, and you'll end up seeing awesome cars and meeting some great people and reconnecting with old friends and making new ones. So I think that's about it for me right now. Be sure to follow the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals social media pages for more photographs and videos. Click like and subscribe and all that jazz for more from us at VATV and Muscle Car of the Week. And from all of our friends here at the Muscle Car and Corvette Nationals in Chicago, I'm Kevin Oeste signing off. See you next time.